in order for you and me to devise some kind of method or strategy to offset some of the events or a repetition of the events that have taken place here in Los Angeles recently, we have to go to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put two dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man that go nuts if he cash you. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
Queen.
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Amadeus.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Amadeus.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Amadeus.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Amadeus.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
I'm
Queen.
getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Amadeus.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Amadeus.
oppression.
Every time we put a sex game, my kick, the words, my baby, can't even on keeping money safe. It's like an earthquake, don't follow you out. Create a constant, just get it from your back. Such a nice place, just a more for all.
Right, hello everyone, Grand Rising. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen AmadeusShakur show. I'm your host, Queen AmadeusShakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Excuse me. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr._A_Shakur, TikTok at Dr. A Shakur, and Twitter at DGoddess27. And as per usual, if you don't like the Queen is cooking, please excuse yourself. Okay, now let's get into it because this is all nefarious. Y'all know what I told you all yesterday, right? It is all so crazy. So let me just go to my TikTok to recap what I talked about yesterday for those of you who may have missed it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Everyone, I'm Dr. AmadeusShakur. So some of the Republicans, specifically Marjorie Taylor Greene, has just accused Joe Biden of possibly trying to start off World War III before he leaves office, so that Trump will have to deal with the aftermath. Let's get into it. So it's just been reported that President Joe Biden will give Ukraine authorization to use U.S.-provided long-range weapons to conduct strikes into Russian territory, prompting concerns among supporters of President-elect Donald Trump that it will cause Vladimir Putin to escalate the conflict. Please pay attention. Now, here's what Putin has previously said about a potential Russian response to such an attack. In September, Putin changed Moscow's nuclear doctrine to include potential responses to an attack that poses a critical threat to the sovereignty of Russia, carried out by non-nuclear power with the participation or support of a nuclear power. He said aggression against Russia by any non-nuclear state, but with the support of a nuclear state, is proposed to be considered as their joint attack on Russia. Okay, he said this during a televised meeting of Russia's Security Council, saying Russia will also consider the possibility of using nuclear weapons when receiving reliable information about a massive launch of means of aerospace attack and their crossing of our state border. He then added that this includes strategic and tactical aircraft, as well as cruise missiles and drones, hypersonic and other delivery vehicles. Russia reserves the right to use nuclear weapons in case of aggression, including if the enemy using conventional weapons poses a critical threat. Okay, this is all so nefarious. Now, when asked to respond to the news of Biden's authorization on Sunday, Russia's foreign ministry spokesperson, Maria Zakharova, said that Putin has already spoken on this matter. Now, Zakharova was seemingly referring to the other remarks by Putin in early September, when he said it's not a question of allowing the Ukrainian regime to strike Russia with these weapons or not. It's about deciding whether NATO countries become directly involved in the military conflict or not. Russia would make appropriate decisions in response to the threats that will be posed to us. Now, the Kremlin was swift in its condemnation, saying it is obvious that the outgoing administration in Washington intends to take steps, and they have been talking about this to continue adding fuel to the fire and provoking further escalation of tensions around the conflict. This is what spokesman Dmitry Peskov said. Peskov then referred journalists to statements that Putin made back in September, when he also said that it would change the very nature of the conflict dramatically. Okay, this will mean the NATO countries, the United States and European countries, are at war with Russia. Putin said the Westerners supply weapons to Ukraine and then say, we do not control anything here anymore, and it does not matter how they are used. Well, we can also say we supplied something to someone and then we do not control anything, and let them think about that. Okay, Putin is not playing games, okay? I don't know if this was a good move for Biden or not. Please pay attention. Now, a U.S. official who wants to remain anonymous said that basically Biden's decision was almost entirely triggered by North Korea's entry into the fight. I'm not so sure that's what Marjorie Taylor Greene thinks, because she posted saying, on his way out of office, Joe Biden is dangerously trying to start World War III by authorizing Ukraine the use of U.S. long-range missiles into Russia. Now, in recorded remarks posted to messaging app Telegram, Putin says, they have not told me anything about it, but I hope they have heard, because of course we will have to make some decisions for ourselves too. Okay, please pay attention. This is all sounding real bad real quick. And some people have a few concerns about Biden making such decisions, specifically after he visited the rainforest. Okay, please pay attention.
Administration as Joe Biden was in the Amazon rainforest on Sunday, announcing a multi-million-dollar plan to reforest the Amazon. The president took no questions about the bombshell Ukraine announcement during his press conference, instead bizarrely just walked off into the rainforest. President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, appeared to threaten Russia.
The plan to strengthen Ukraine is the victory plan, which I presented to our partners. One of its key points is long-range capabilities for our army. Today, there's a lot of talk in the media about us receiving permission for respective actions. But strikes are not carried out with words. Such things are not announced. Missiles will speak for themselves. They certainly will.
Russian President Vladimir Putin then responded to the news, not mincing his words and threatening to use nuclear weapons in the war.
In the updated version of the document, aggression against Russia by any non-nuclear state, but with the support of a nuclear state, is proposed to be considered as their joint attack on Russia. Russia will also consider the possibility of using nuclear weapons when receiving reliable information about a massive launch of means of aerospace attack and their crossing of our state border. This includes strategic and tactical aircraft, as well as cruise missiles and drones, hypersonic and other delivery vehicles. Russia reserves the right to use nuclear weapons in case of aggression, including if the enemy, using conventional weapons, poses a critical threat.
Now, Biden makes such a move, and then he doesn't answer any questions, doesn't take one question from reporters about the move he just made, and then walks off into the Amazon rainforest without so much as a word. No one tried to stop him. That clearly looked real crazy as far as I'm concerned. But the other thing is this. I think Biden absolutely knows exactly what he's doing when he went ahead and made that move and gave the authorization, because that's going to put Trump between a rock and a hard place, because we already know that Trump and Putin have at least a mutual respect for one another. And now Putin's saying that basically if the U.S. is going to go ahead and give this type of authorization, well, they have basically declared war with Russia themselves. Okay, so please pay attention. How's this all going to turn out? I can certainly guess it's not good, at least not from what we have to go on so far. And on top of all this, Putin's talking about bringing out nuclear weapons, okay? So we might as well buckle up, because it's going to be a bumpy ride. Please pay attention. Sorry, I forgot to unmute myself. So you all heard that. This is all getting real crazy, like I said. Now, so it's gotten even worse since yesterday. Please pay attention. Let me just pull this up. Excuse me, because now they're talking about Putin has actually given the okay for the nukes to come out, okay? Bringing out the big guns. And this is all disastrous, all right? This is all disastrous. What in the world was Biden thinking? Okay, and so with that all being said, hold on, beloveds. Now, mind you, a U.S. official who wanted to remain anonymous basically said that he thinks that Biden did this because of North Korea. Well, he may have, I don't know, but at the end of the day, was it really a good idea? I'm not too sure. Okay, and let me just tell you all something in case anybody's wondering, because let me share my screen, show a few of these comments just in case anybody's thinking the same thing, because here's what somebody said. Somebody said, can't change president in a time of war. That's what somebody told me on TikTok. Okay. And then you had somebody else agreeing with them, right? Okay, so please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, here's the thing. I don't know where people get their information from. I don't know where people begin their information from. Clearly not from reliable sources. Hold on. So likes up, everyone. Don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance. Now, with that all being said, hold on. Let me pull up one more thing. Now, just in case anybody's confused, I hate you all can hear me thumping on this keyboard, but that's what happens when my audio gets messed up because of the Microsoft updates, okay, the Windows updates. Okay, so basically, here's the thing. You know, people are saying, oh, well, they can't change presidents in a time of war. Well, when has that ever happened? Because according to Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution, it says otherwise. The election in 1864 was held during the Civil War, okay? And during World War II, Roosevelt won a third and fourth term. So maybe that's why they're confused. But later, the Second Amendment was ratified in 1951, limiting a president to 2 terms. There's no precedent for an extension of the term, okay? Because some people are saying, oh, but wait a minute, the Democrats are just not trying to stay in power, okay? They can't stay in power. Even if there is a war, the things are still going to keep on moving. And that's why Marjorie Taylor Greene seems to think that Biden did all of this to cause problems with the incoming administration, which he may likely have, because it seemed to me, as some of us were saying, that Biden seemed like he was almost trying to low-key sabotage Kamala's campaign, coming out there saying things, you know, partially giving her blame for some of the things that he in fact did and all of that. So with that all being said, I thank you, Pure Black said, didn't we have a 20-year war once? Okay, exactly, over there in Afghanistan. And so anyway, like I said, I don't know what some people are talking about, but please don't try to correct me, and you don't know what the hell you're even talking about. That's all I'm saying. Now let's go to the footage of Putin, of the Russians striking the U.S. long-range missiles, giving 0 Fs. Well, that sure escalated quickly. Okay, please pay attention. I told y'all yesterday that Putin is not playing any darn games. All right. So, and now North Korea is ready. Okay. North Korea has come out and said something too. So let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. Now, let me pull up this next video because Putin clearly warned them on yesterday.
Doing this.
Turning overseas today, the Kremlin warned President Biden is adding fuel to the fire by allowing Ukraine to use long-range U.S. missiles that can strike targets inside Russia. The military calls the missiles ATACMS. One Russian lawmaker today said firing them over the border could lead to World War III. CBS's Holly Williams is in Ukraine tonight.
Ukraine's been using American-supplied ATACMS against Russian forces since last year. Some of the missiles have a range of close to 200 miles. But before now, the US had refused the Ukrainians permission to hit targets inside Russia, concerned about an escalation in the conflict. Colonel Maxim Balagura of Ukraine's state border guard hinted last month about what the Ukrainians could attack with the powerful US weapons.
If the US would allow you to use ATACMS to hit Russia, what difference would that make?
If the Russians don't have any ammunition or any planes, then manpower won't matter, he told us. In recent months, Russian forces have been gaining ground and targeting Ukraine's cities with deadly glide bombs, Soviet-era ammunition retrofitted with wings and GPS. Last month, we witnessed the aftermath of a small glide bomb in this residential neighborhood.
You can see the devastation that it's wreaked. It's literally ripped the front off the building.
And now Russia's military's been bolstered by more than 10,000 North Korean soldiers. They may join an offensive to retake territory in Kursk in southern Russia, where Ukraine launched an audacious incursion in August. In September, Vladimir Putin said that if the US allowed Ukraine to use ATACMS inside his country, it would mean that America and Russia are at war.
Some Ukrainians fear that President-elect Donald Trump could try to pressure their government into negotiating with Russia. If that happens, using the ATACMS now could give Ukraine a better bargaining position. Nora?
That's certainly on the table. Holly Williams in Ukraine, thank you so much.
Were you recently...
Okay, so you all see how that's going down thus far, but let's continue. Now, Sheppy Head says they're lying. North Korea is not involved. Well, honey, I don't know where you get your information from, okay? I don't know where you get that information from. Why would they be lying? What's that going to do and benefit anybody? At the end of the day, Putin's bad enough. So why do they need to throw in North Korea if they don't have anything to do with it? Please pay attention. And also, North Korea's been involved in it. They already stood with Russia. That's the thing. And that's why some people think that maybe that's why Biden went ahead and decided that he was going to give the Ukrainians those long-range missiles. Please pay attention, okay? Let's go by the facts as they're presented. Let's not just make up our own stories and scenarios. Let's not make up our own news stories and scenarios, okay? Let's not do that. Let's just go by what they're reporting currently, okay? Whether they're lying or not, if they are, hopefully we'll find out.
First, want to ask former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations and President Trump's longest-serving national security advisor, John Bolton. Mr. Ambassador, thanks so much for being here with us. I just first want to ask you about the breaking news that we've been reporting on. President Biden approving Ukraine's use of these long-range U.S. weapons inside of Russia. What do you think about that move?
Well, it's the right decision. I'm just worried it's too little, too late. That this should have happened 2 years ago, and it's emblematic of the sad reality that although the United States wasn't able to deter the Russian invasion, for this 2.5 years, Russia has largely deterred the United States and NATO from providing adequate assistance to Ukraine on a strategic basis. It's been one long public debate after another, going back to, shall we supply ATACMS to the Ukrainians at all? First it's no, then there's a debate, then there's yes. Should we supply the Ukrainians Abrams tanks? First it's no, then there's a long debate, then it's yes. Should we supply the Ukrainians with F-16s? First it's no, then there's a long debate, and it's yes. Now, can we allow the Ukrainians to use ATACMS inside Russia? After a long debate, now it's yes. But it's 2 months until Donald Trump is inaugurated, and I think there's little doubt what's going to happen here. Aid to Ukraine is most likely to diminish significantly, and it's, I think, the failure of the past 2.5 years to supply weapon systems on a strategic basis. It's a major contributing factor to the military gridlock we see now.
As far as I'm concerned, aid to Ukraine needs to stop already. It should have never been going on this far. Hundreds of billions of dollars sent to Ukraine. You got a whole homeless crisis over here. Don't even get me started. Okay, talking about it's going to stop. Yeah, it needs to. It should never have started in the first place. Please pay attention. Okay, and at the end of the day, like I said, people over here living homeless on the streets, some of them veterans. Make it all make sense.
Yeah, the timing of all of this is pretty specific. And as our Kevin Liptak was reporting it, really, he says, in the eyes of U.S. officials, comes at what they're thinking of as an inflection point.
Well, the inflection point was the American election. There could have been an inflection point 2 years ago if the Biden administration, after completely bumbling the initial Russian attack, remember, the intelligence assessment or the political conclusion about the intelligence was, and briefed to Congress days after the Russian attack, that Kyiv would fall in a matter of days and the whole country would fall in a matter of weeks. That was one argument that persuaded the Biden administration not to put more weapons assistance into Ukraine even before the Russian invasion in February of 2022.
And I want to ask your opinion. Russian President Vladimir Putin has previously warned that allowing Ukraine to use these long-range weapons inside Russia would mean the NATO allies are directly at war with Russia, and that, quote, appropriate decisions would be made to those threats. We just heard Fred Pleitgen's reporting there about how they've changed the wording around their nuclear rules. Are you concerned about that piece of it?
No, there are two aspects to this. Number one, this threat of a wider war. That's the phrase we've heard day after day after day in the last 2.5 years from the Biden administration. Could be conventional, could be nuclear. If it's a conventional threat, where's the Russian army that's going to provoke this wider war? And by the way, if it's so good and so extensive, why isn't it fighting in Ukraine in the first place, given the miserable performance of Russian combat arms so far? And as to the nuclear threat, look, that change in Russian doctrine was insignificant. We have never renounced the first use of nuclear weapons if we need to. And basically, that's all they're saying. We have testimony from the heads of U.S. intelligence agencies in public sessions that despite multiple rattlings of the nuclear saber by Putin and others, there's never been a redeployment of Russian nuclear forces. I'm not saying you don't take it seriously, but if Putin can outbluff us, he gets what he wants for free.
I want to move on and talk a little bit more broadly about the incoming Trump administration. And you note that that's happening very soon. And then that will change not only the positioning likely in Ukraine, but more broadly, a lot of foreign policy. I want to talk first about who the president-elect has selected for his director of national intelligence, former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard. You have described her as a national security threat. What do you think, just having now had that information kind of set in and seeing that he is confident in pushing her forward, what do you think generally about that pick, if we can just get a little more thought on that? And then also, too, what might that mean for the war in Ukraine, where she has been known to spout some Russian propaganda?
Well, I think in the transition period, there's always a lot of blue smoke and mirrors from the incoming administration. This is a very serious mistake if Tulsi Gabbard is allowed to take over as director of national intelligence. To begin with, she has zero experience dealing with the intelligence community. And that position was set up by Congress, mistakenly in my view, but they set it up to coordinate all intelligence agencies within the government. She doesn't have the slightest idea what the job involves. As a member of Congress, she got intelligence briefings that she often said she didn't believe. I don't think she has any basis on which to manage this huge and critically important function of the federal government. And number two, she has over the years spouted delusional beliefs about events in Syria, about events in Iran, about Russian policy, that her own fellow members of Congress have said amount to repeating Russian propaganda.
Let me tell y'all something. He has a whole lot of negativity to say about Tulsi Gabbard. My whole thing is, I don't like Trump's administration, the people that he chose for his cabinet, but I do like Tulsi. Okay, at the end of the day, I don't know why he's trying to disparage her so hard. Okay, he needs to sit down somewhere because he sounds like he just loves war. And as far as him saying that she spouted propaganda, see, that's what they say when people tell the truth. That's what they say for people who don't go along with the lies and the BS. They'll say that they're spouting BS. They'll say that they're giving disinformation. They'll say that they're in fact conspiracy theorists. Well, I believe anything that Tulsi Gabbard says rather than him. That's what I will do, okay? But that's just my opinion. Now, Sierra said, I thought Trump was the one that's unhinged. Honey, Trump's unhinged too. Okay, he is unhinged too, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, at the end of the day, honey, you cannot trust these folks. Please pay attention. With that all being said, hold on. Cookie said, Queen, I'm definitely copying your style. Go right ahead, beloved. Okay. Now, this is just all so crazy. Now, Red Wine Entertainment said, facts. They got bunkers. Only the so-called government got bunkers here. All right, let's continue, honey, because they are really just going all in, honey, at the end of the day. Why is he giving it to Tulsi so hard? Why is he going in on poor Tulsi so hard? I'm sorry. What did she do to piss them off? I think we all know. Okay. I think we all know by now. So let's continue.
Warning for the United States after President Biden authorized Ukraine to use long-range missiles supplied by the U.S. to strike inside Russia. Chief Foreign Correspondent Ian Pennell starts us off from Ukraine. Good morning, Ian.
Yeah, good morning, George. Nuclear saber rattling from the Kremlin this morning, with Vladimir Putin appearing to threaten to use nuclear weapons if Ukraine fires American-made missiles into Russia. The Kremlin saying the doctrine was updated in response to what it calls the new situation. The new Russian policy essentially authorizes the use of nuclear weapons in response to what it calls, quotes, critical threats of aggression using conventional weapons. Now, remember, President Biden lifting restrictions on the ATACMS ballistic missiles, which are, of course, conventional weapons, essentially allowing them to be fired into Russia. Putin has made nuclear threats before that have proved to be hollow. A senior Ukrainian military source telling me this is blackmail, but also warning nuclear weapons are a Pandora's box that shouldn't be opened. This move likely aimed as much at President-elect Trump, who's promising to end the war when he takes office, but it'll make that all the harder. Meanwhile, Russia again escalating attacks inside Ukraine, striking an apartment block in the north, killing 9, including a child. And for all the talk of peace plans, Ukraine today marking 1,000 days of Russia's devastating war with no end in sight. And just one final bit of breaking news, we're hearing that the Russians are reporting that Ukraine has now used these ATACMS ballistic missiles. More on that later.
Yeah,
George?
It looks like an escalation is coming. Okay, Ian, thanks very much.
Okay, so y'all heard that. It said Ukraine has already used those weapons, honey. And we know they have because Russia shot them down. Please pay attention. Honey, this is just getting worse and worse as the days go by. Now they say Trump's team is scrambling, honey. Please pay attention. At the end of the day, what's really going down? The likes up, everyone, please like and share. Putin fine-tunes Russia's nuclear doctrine after Biden's arms decision on Ukraine and clear signal to the West. So President Vladimir Putin has updated Russia's nuclear doctrine 2 days after his U.S. counterpart Joe Biden granted Ukraine permission to strike targets deep inside Russia with American-made weapons. Now, under the updated doctrine, Moscow will consider aggression from any non-nuclear state, but with the participation of a nuclear country, a joint attack on Russia. Now, the change comes as Russia claims Ukraine fired the U.S.-made ATACMS missiles into the Russian region of Bryansk. Now, the attack, if confirmed, would mark the first use by Ukraine since Biden gave the green light. The Russian government had previously signaled that the U.S.'s approval would be a dangerous escalation of the war in Ukraine, now 1,000 days old. Now, the Kremlin began this fresh round of the nuclear saber rattling on Tuesday, saying the revised military doctrine would, in theory, lower the bar to first use of nuclear weapons. Now, in a phone call with reporters, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov noted the changes mean that the Russian Federation reserves the right to use nuclear weapons in the event of aggression using conventional weapons against it. Hold on, pop-ups. Using conventional weapons against it and or the Republic of Belarus. Nuclear deterrence is a pillar of Russian military doctrine, but the revision appears to broaden the definition of what would be considered aggression against Russia. Okay, now an important element of this document is that nuclear deterrence is aimed at ensuring that a potential adversary understands the inevitability of retaliation in the event of aggression against the Russian Federation or their allies. Now, this is all what Peskov said. The revised doctrine is clearly meant to send a strong signal to Ukraine's Western backers about the risk of escalation and make policymakers and the public think twice about the possible consequences of providing more sophisticated and far-reaching weaponry to Ukraine. Okay, Putin is basically telling them they need to sit down somewhere, honey. This is all going crazy. Please pay attention. I told y'all yesterday. I told y'all. So with that all being said, let's go to what MSNBC had to say about all of this. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance.
Jake Auchincloss from Massachusetts. Always good to see you, my friend. So I do want to start with this breaking news, which NBC News has confirmed now, along with other media outlets, that President Biden has approved Ukraine's use of long-range U.S. weapons now inside of Russia. First of all, do you agree with this move?
Nice to see you, Alex. Not only do I agree with it, I've been advocating for it for half a year. It is long overdue, but still positive. I would encourage the administration, though, to make clear that Ukraine can use these ATACMS also to strike Russian energy infrastructure, in particular, the 4 oil refineries surrounding Moscow, which account for about a third of refined petroleum. And that petroleum is the lifeblood of Putin's war economy. If they can impair the functioning of those oil refineries, all of which are within range of U.S.-made weapons, they can grind to a halt Putin's advances.
But could this be a dangerous escalation, or do you think it would result in faster conclusion to this war?
NATO can't flinch every time Putin flexes. He's an autocrat. Autocrats respect strength. NATO needs to demonstrate strength, not just to the Kremlin, but also to Beijing and to Tehran and to Pyongyang, all of which are vested together in an axis of authoritarianism, seeking to probe for weak spots amongst the West and looking to exploit any weakness that they find. We have to demonstrate in Ukraine, on the front lines of the free world, that the United States and NATO are going to stand with freedom and democracy wherever they're under attack.
Part of this New York Times article, sir, suggests that it is the Biden administration sending a message directly to North Korea in saying that their forces are vulnerable now with the use of this U.S. armament, and that they should not send more troops. About 10,000, we believe, are on the ground right now, North Korean troops assisting Russia in the war against Ukraine. Does that message, you think, stick?
If the missiles are used to attack troop staging sites that include North Korean troops, absolutely. I just wouldn't exclusively scope the targets to troop staging sites. I'd want to expand it to missile launching sites, to logistics hubs, and as I said, perhaps most impactfully to energy infrastructure.
Okay. Let's move on, speaking of energy, to Donald Trump's choice of Chris Wright, the CEO of a fracking firm, as energy secretary. Again, this just as President Biden has been out touring the Amazon stressing climate action. We do expect to hear from the president shortly as well. So in case I have to interrupt you, that's why. How do you see this pick impacting the country's environmental goals? And as a member of the Transportation Committee, specifically President Biden's push for zero carbon transportation?
Alex, if I were a senator, I wouldn't vote for him. Let me tell you, though, that I actually remain at root optimistic about the United States' ability to take climate action and to work with the rest of the world on achieving our climate goals by 2050. And the reason is that the Inflation Reduction Act has turbocharged the clean energy transition. We're seeing fission, fusion, solar, geothermal, wind, all adopted at utility scale. And I think that we have unleashed the animal spirits of the private sector and the ingenuity of our scientists and technologists. And I do think that we're going to be able to continue to make progress, even as we Democrats in Washington fight to protect our natural habitats from drilling. But let me tell you where I'm deeply concerned, where I worry that we can do profound damage, and that is in health and human services, where Robert F. Kennedy might do to America what he did to Samoa. In 2019, he flew to Samoa as part of his anti-vax road trip. He derailed their vaccination campaign. And then what happened next, regrettably, is predictable. Measles had an outbreak, thousands died, thousands were infected, 83 died, the majority of whom were children. And it was Kennedy's fault. And if we do that in the United States, it could be hundreds and thousands.
Are there guardrails in place to prevent Kennedy from doing that if he is confirmed?
Those guardrails are best known as Republicans in Congress. And Alex, you and I both know that the storybook with chapters of Republican courage against Donald Trump in Congress has very, very few episodes in it. So we need Senator Bill Cassidy, who is the chairman of the Help Committee in the Senate, which will be vetting Robert F. Kennedy, to make clear that an anti-vaxxer, somebody who is against fluoridated water, which has improved dental health for children, somebody who thinks that high-speed internet is causing leaky brain syndrome, somebody who thinks AIDS is not a virus, somebody who thinks that gun violence is not a social determinant of health, that someone like this does not belong anywhere near the levers of health and human services.
Congressman Jake Auchincloss, come see me anytime. Many thanks.
Now, I'm going to say this. All that stuff that he was saying about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. being in charge of Health and Human Services, every reason that he gave is every reason that I'm glad he's in there. Please pay attention. Okay, every reason he gave is every reason that I'm glad he's in there. All right? Yeah. See, they don't like people that don't go along with their agenda. Like I said, I don't care about Trump's cabinet, but at the end of the day, I do like Tulsi Gabbard, and she got the position that she needs as far as I'm concerned. And Robert F. Kennedy, having the skepticism that he does about certain things, okay, and the research that he's done, yeah, I absolutely like it. And here's why I really like it. Because before, when Trump was in office and he was going to get Robert F. Kennedy to be in a particular position or whatever, or actually it wasn't when he was in office, it's when he was going up against Biden for the election that he lost. He was talking about having Robert F. Kennedy in that position then. And guess who told him not to? It wasn't a good idea. Bill Gates. So anything that Bill Gates has a problem with, I'm all for. Because Bill Gates, in my opinion, is the devil. Okay. And if you don't know what Bill Gates actually said about certain things, go on my X account and look for the video that I retweeted of him that has been scrubbed from the internet for the most part. And somebody luckily found it where he was on TED Talk. Go look that up. Okay. Because at the end of the day, honey, I'm glad that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is in there. And as far as fluoride, for those of you who follow the spiritual channel, you already know what I told you about fluoride, okay? And you can look that up. All right. So anyway, with that all being said, let's talk about North Korea, because here's what they say. North Korean leader calls for expanding its nuclear forces in the face of alleged U.S. threats. So North Korean leader Kim Jong-un renewed his call for a limitless expansion of his military nuclear program to counter U.S.-led threats in comments reported Monday that were his first direct criticism toward Washington since Donald Trump's win in the U.S. presidential election. Now, at a conference with Army officials on Friday, Kim condemned the United States for updating its nuclear deterrent strategies with South Korea and solidifying three-way military cooperation involving Japan, which he portrayed as an Asian NATO, okay, that was escalating tensions and instability in the region. Now, Kim also criticized the United States over its support of Ukraine, okay, against a prolonged Russian invasion. He insisted that Washington and its Western allies were using Ukraine as their shock troops to wage war against Moscow and expand the scope of U.S. military influence. Now, the North officials the North's official Korean Central News Agency gave this information. They say Kim has prioritized his country's ties to Russia in recent months, embracing the idea of a new Cold War and displaying a united front in Russian President Vladimir Putin's broader conflicts with the West. Okay, he has used Russia's war on Ukraine as a distraction to accelerate the development of his nuclear-armed military, which now has various nuclear capable systems targeting South Korea and intercontinental ballistic missiles that can potentially reach the U.S. mainland. Okay, please pay attention. This is all going bad. Now, Kim has yet to directly acknowledge that he has been providing military equipment and troops to Russia to support its war against Ukraine, and KCNA's report didn't mention whether Kim made any comments toward Trump, whose election win has yet to be reported in the North state media. But Kim met Trump 3 times in 2018 and in 2019 in Trump's first presidency. But their diplomacy quickly collapsed over disagreements in exchanging the release of U.S.-led sanctions and North Korean steps to wind down its nuclear and missile program. North Korea has since suspended any meaningful talks with Washington and Seoul as Kim ramped up his testing activity and military demonstrations in the face of what he portrayed as gangster-like U.S. threats. Okay, this man said U.S. has lost their mind. He's calling them gangster, said they're making gangster-like threats. Now, there's concern in Seoul that Kim, in exchange for his military support of Russia, would receive Russian technology in return to further develop his arsenal. Trump's election win has touched off speculation about a resumption of a summit-driven diplomacy with Kim, okay, which was described by critics as a bromance. But some experts say a quick return to 2018 is highly unlikely, as too much has changed about the region's security situation and broader geopolitics since then. Now, while the North Korean nuclear problem was relatively an independent issue during Trump's first term, it's now connected with broader challenges created by Russia's war on Ukraine and further complicated by weakened sanctions enforcement against Pyongyang. Hwang Aidu, and a professor at South Korea's National Diplomatic Academy. Now, this is what he wrote in a study last week. North Korea's nuclear and missile program is now much more advanced, okay, which would increase Kim's perception of his bargaining powers. So now he's got even more arsenal, and now he's got upgraded military, weaponry. Now, Kim's efforts to boost North Korea's presence in a united front against Washington could also gain strength if Trump spikes tariffs and rekindles a trade war with China. Remember, I told y'all about the trade war they had going back and forth. Okay. Now, the North's main ally and economic lifeline. Okay. That's why they want them to do it, according to Quang. So amid the stalemate in larger nuclear negotiations with Washington, Kim has been dialing up pressure on South Korea, abandoning his country's longstanding goal of inter-Korean reconciliation and verbally threatening to attack the South with nukes if provoked. Kim has also engaged in psychological and electronic warfare against South Korea, such as flying thousands of balloons, to drop trash in the South and disrupting GPS signals from border areas near the South's biggest airport. Now, South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff said North Korea again flew trash-laden balloons toward the South early Monday and issued a statement warning the North not to test our military's patience any further. Okay, the North has launched about 7,000 balloons toward the South since May, causing property damage, but so far no injuries. On at least 2 occasions, trash carried by North Korea's balloons fell on Seoul's presidential compound, raising concerns about the vulnerability of key sites. Now, I'm sorry. This all sounds real nefarious to me, because if this man's willing to do all this to his own people, okay, what do you think he'll do against the U.S. with Russia? Okay, please pay attention. Imuna says, according to the book of Revelations, we are in the 6th seal. Now, in the book of Revelations, when they talk about the 7 seals, those are the 7 chakras. Okay, please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, this is all going bad real quick. So now let's go to this governor who's talking about the ballot scandal. This is the Democratic governor. He's going off. Okay, here we go. Let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Reggie said, this man sounds crazy. Why doesn't he talk about Bill Gates and his Africa points? Thank you. I agree. Why doesn't he, honey? Okay, please pay attention.
Hot seat today, testifying before the House Oversight Committee over questions of alleged anti-Trump bias in the agency. All as Chairman James Comer calls out alleged political bias within FEMA. Watch.
It appears that this is a pattern of misbehavior by FEMA employees who were instructed, do not help people in affluent neighborhoods, do not help people with Trump signs in their yards or Trump flags or anything that would give the impression that they were not a supporter of the Democrat machine.
Former Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi joins me now. Pam, what questions would you ask the FEMA administrator?
Well, I think they need to find out if it's systemic, and it sounds like it is. Right now, there's one woman who, of course, has been fired and saying that she was a scapegoat, and it goes much higher than that. So I think that's very important to find out. And also, they're going to be able to obtain their emails, their text messages, and I firmly believe all this will be uncovered. But if it's systemic throughout FEMA, which I believe it probably is, then they're going to have a tremendous problem on their hands, especially when Kristi Noem takes office very soon and runs that organization. Because these aren't Democrats, these aren't Republicans, these are Americans who are having their civil rights violated because they chose to have a Donald Trump sign in their front yard.
So at the end of the day, you are confident that FEMA leadership will ultimately be held accountable and change will come to that agency if wrongdoing is found?
Absolutely. And after January 20th, major change is going to come.
Understood. Speaking of change, a lot of change happening there in Florida as so many individuals are being tapped for Donald Trump's administration. Governor DeSantis says he will likely name a replacement for Senator Marco Rubio's seat in early January, with President-elect Trump's daughter-in-law, Lara Trump, emerging as a possible successor. A long list of other individuals. I'm going to put you on the spot here, Pam. You are tapped in. You know Florida. You know Florida politics. You know how the game is played down there. Who's the front runner?
You know, I don't know who the front runner is, but I know who's extremely qualified, and that's Lara Trump. I know her very well. She is a proven leader. I worked with her and Mike Whatley on the RNC. They helped stop this voter fraud throughout the country. They got the vote out. They protected the vote. No one works as hard as Lara Trump. I can't be objective because she's also my friend. She's a mom. She's a great wife, and she would be a tremendous leader for the state of Florida. And we're blessed to have Lara in our state with us.
I'm sorry. So now she's supposed to be running something in Florida. This is all a disaster waiting to happen. And I told y'all, okay, what is Trump really doing? Please make it all make sense, okay? This all sounds crazy to me, but hey, do what you do, I guess. Now let's talk about this border situation. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you.
Congressman Roger Williams. He is the chairman of the House Small Business Committee and a member of the House Financial Services Committee. Congressman, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks very much for being here. So, are you surprised that 20 unaccompanied children were encountered and more special interest individuals were encountered at the southern border? How would you assess the situation today?
Well, I mean, it's a mess. I mean, it gets worse every single day. And the fact that we've got more and more people wanting to come, they know that it's going to be different under President Trump. It just promotes these young children. It just reminds us these young kids that are coming up here with nobody to talk to except a drug dealer and a sex trafficker. So this is why we've got to get control of the border. We got to get back to being a land of law where people understands that. And that's going to be a part of the Trump agenda is secure the border and keep the drug dealers from running around the border and fix things is the way we're going to have to do it. We know it works.
How do you respond to some of these Democrat governors who are saying, not on my watch, you're not coming for my people, we're not going to help you, we're not going to have our law enforcement of our state do anything in terms of rounding up illegal migrants to send them back? I mean, what do you want to say to these governors who are basically putting on the resist again?
Well, they're putting on the resist. And the interesting thing is they think they're protecting their people. Well, their people voted for President Trump. They voted for they voted for deportation. They voted for a secure border. They voted for all the things we're talking about. They voted for the military at the border. So I don't know what they're doing from a political standpoint. It sounds like suicide to me. But look, the fact of the matter is the American people voted. We want border security. We want to be a land of law. That's what's going to happen. That's what the people want. And begin to get things fixed and settle ourselves down in this world and get control of ourselves.
So will this stump President Trump's plans? I mean, if he goes into New York and tries to find the illegal, Venezuelan gangs who are running around New York and robbing people, I mean, is Kathy Hochul going to stop him?
Well, it's hard to believe that she would. I mean, because Maria, it gets back to the election. This election said a lot of things. People spoke for a lot, one of which was a secure border. And if Kathy Holcomb's going to fight him, I don't know who she's fighting for.
I don't know.
She's fighting the illegals. She's fighting she's representing the illegals.
Yeah.
And so in illegal behavior. So look, America doesn't want that. America spoke, and Trump's going to get support from everybody to do what we need to do, especially down in Texas. And it's going to turn our country around, make it safer. And certainly for small businesses, businesses are going to be able to open again. They're going to be able to survive. They're going to be able to hire people, compete, and offer goods and services.
Congressman, I want to ask you about a story we've been covering and talking about this morning. President-elect Trump is rounding out his cabinet with some members who will be tough on China. They're China hawks, and like Marco Rubio, for example, a Secretary of State nominee. TD Cowen is out with new analysis this morning based on those choices. And the analyst there writes this: we expect more, if not all, Chinese companies that trade on U.S. exchanges to be delisted. Are you expecting legislation to delist companies that trade in the U.S. right now, which may very well have ties to the Chinese military, our adversary?
Yeah, we have to worry about America first. We have to defend ourselves. And China is frankly the enemy. And they silently come in here and buy our land, buy our products, buy our intellectual property. I think we have to take a look at that. This is America. You're free to do things, buy and sell as you want. But this is a unique situation we're in. China is, we're their enemy number one, and vice versa. I think we need to take a look at it. I mean, we talked about it earlier. When they own 31 million acres of our food land and our farmland, that's a dangerous situation. And you can go to many communities in America, and you go to the downtown, the buildings are owned by the Chinese. That's got to stop. It's got to be America first. We got to control who we're doing business with. And I think we'll have an opportunity to come up with a plan that puts a hurt on China.
So you would support delisting Chinese stocks, especially those that are already sanctioned?
Yeah. Well, I think right now I'd take a strong look at it because, again, it gets back to who's taking care of our country. I mean, it's America first. It's the agenda. And I'm for competition and all that sort of thing. So I want to take a look at it, and because it would be unique in what we might do. But let's take a look at it because we are in unique times, and America is in the crosshairs of everybody right now.
Okay, y'all heard that, right? So Michael M. says, do you notice that the Democrats like China and that the Republicans like Russia? At the end of the day, here's the thing, though. Doesn't China make much of our pharmaceuticals? Doesn't China make much of our pharmaceuticals? So how crazy is it to be against China when you allow them to make our pharmaceuticals? Like, make that make sense, okay? That's crazy to me. I don't know what the rest of y'all think, but I'm sorry, that just sounds absolutely crazy as far as I'm concerned, okay? Because they make some of the pharmaceuticals that come over here. I mean, just think about what they could do if they really wanted to be nasty. And let's not forget, a few years ago, there was, in fact, a recall, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. I'll have to fact check myself in just a second because I do believe that's what I read some years ago. Excuse me now, with that all being said, let's continue because the next thing I want to touch on is, remember yesterday when I told you guys that Beyonce's mother, Tina Knowles, was going back and forth with Candace Owens for daring to say that Beyonce was paid $10 million. And I told y'all, I don't know if she was paid or not, but usually they do pay celebrities. So I said, I'm going to have to check into it. And then someone told me in the chat that the financial budget for Kamala Harris's campaign had in fact come out. Well, that's interesting because in fact it did come out. And guess what? It didn't say anything about Beyonce getting paid. So I guess Candace was wrong. Didn't say anything about Beyonce getting paid. You know who it did say got paid though? I'm so glad you asked. Oprah. Said Oprah got two, if I'm not mistaken, I'll go to the receipts in just a minute, but let me just hear you all. Let me just let you guys hear Oprah sitting here lying through her teeth to TMZ. And it's interesting because I thought of all of them, Oprah would be the one that didn't get paid. She's a whole billionaire for one, and I thought that she would genuinely just want to help Kamala, just like she was helping Obama. But hold on. Oprah says, I was paid nothing for Kamala event. Avoids commenting on election results. Okay. Now, this is a report from TMZ when they caught up to Oprah walking down the street looking haggard. I think she had just come back from a jog or something or another. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. This is all so nefarious at the end of the day. Hold on, let me just pull this up on here. Now, I'm going to put an overlay on this because y'all know how TMZ gets down. Okay, please pay attention. Okay, here we go. We'll just put that on the screen. Now listen. So anyway, with that all being said, please pay attention. Please pay attention. So Oprah was looking a whole hot mess, by the way, like I said, and sitting up there clearly not telling the truth according to reports. Okay? According to reports. Miss Tina Knowles was telling the truth, but Oprah wasn't. Sad to say, because here's what it says. Kamala Harris campaign paid Oprah Winfrey Company far more than initially claimed in report. Okay, so the Kamala Harris campaign paid Oprah Winfrey's company, double the amount initially reported, okay, for a live streamed event. Now, the Washington Examiner reported last week, citing Federal Election Commission filings, that the Harris campaign made a pair of $500,000 payments to Oprah's media company, Harpo Productions, on October the 15th. Other media outlets, however, said that she was paid personally for her appearance. Now, in a statement, Harpo Productions confirmed that the Harris campaign paid for the cost of the town hall without giving a figure. It maintained, however, that Winfrey received no payment for her appearance. Oprah Winfrey was at no point during the campaign paid a personal fee, nor did she receive a fee for Harpo. Now, when questioned by TMZ's reporter, Winfrey said she wasn't paid for her endorsement. Not true, she said. I was not paid a thing. Now, Winfrey posted a statement on her Instagram saying, I was not paid a dime. Okay, for the live streaming event in September, my production company, Harpo, was asked to bring in set design, lights, cameras, crew, producers, and every other item necessary, including the benches and the chairs that we sat on, to put on a live production. I did not take any personal fee. However, the people who worked on that production needed to be paid, and they were. End of story. So now the New York Times has detailed the spending on the town hall based on the campaign finance reports and unnamed sources. According to two people aware of the matter, the paper reported that $1 million that the $1 million actually undercounts the full cost of the event, which ran closer to $2.5 million. Now, the live streamed event took place in Michigan on September the 19th and was attended by a battery of celebrities like Meryl Streep, Bryan Cranston, Chris Rock, Ben Stiller, Jennifer Lopez, and Julia Roberts. Okay, the event hosted by Oprah got over 1.12 million views in under 12 hours. According to the Times, the outgoing vice president's campaign spent $1.5 billion or $100 million per week during her 15-week ultimately unsuccessful presidential run. Okay, so that all been said, Oprah said she didn't get paid personally, but money was given to her company, according to the reports, two $500,000 payments. Okay, so once again, let me just clarify. Miss Knowles wasn't lying because it didn't say anything about Beyonce in the financial reports. Okay, and Oprah, if she did take money as a report, she needs to be ashamed of herself, okay, at the end of the day. Now, with that all being said, let's get into it because Diddy, did y'all hear what Diddy's up to, honey? Diddy said, take these shackles off my feet. Yeah, right? So let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Here's what they said. You know, Diddy's going for his third bail hearing. Diddy's lawyers make last-minute requests for judge ahead of court hearing. So Sean Diddy Combs' lawyers have filed a last-minute request regarding his Tuesday hearing over accusations that prosecutors unlawfully seized materials from the music mogul's jail cell. Okay, now they say the Bad Boy Records founder Combs was arrested and charged in September. Okay, we know all of that. On Friday, prosecutors accused Combs of concealing communications from jail and running social media campaigns to taint potential jurors and leak information that could be helpful to his case. They also allege that he has contacted witnesses through third parties. In a letter filed Monday, the defense said that prosecutors acknowledged that they possess possibly privileged materials, such as the notes recovered from the defendant's cell during bail arguments last week. Now, the defense also called the search of Combs' cell and seizure of personal items and paperwork and outrageous government conduct amounting to a substantive due process violation. They also asked for the issue to be addressed immediately. Now, in a last-minute request on Monday, Combs' defense team also filed a letter to Judge Arun Subramaniam in which they requested that their client be unshackled for court on Tuesday morning and for all future court appearances. You know, they can't have Diddy looking like an animal or a monster. Now, during the conference during the conference held on October the 10th of 2024, Mr. Combs appeared in leg shackles throughout the entire proceeding without any justification, according to his attorneys, saying this was noticed by the press and the public. So we're supposed to be concerned if Diddy's a little bit embarrassed because he's got shackles on? Okay, so I'm sorry, is he supposed to get preferential treatment? They cited previous cases. Okay, the attorneys argued that the use of restraints in the courtroom creates optics that risk invoking a juror's bias against their client. The lawyers also suggested that continued use of the shackles would be degrading for Combs and interfere with his ability to communicate with his legal team. Say what? What does shackles on his feet or ankles have to do with him communicating with his legal team? And furthermore, it would interfere and it would be degrading. Why should anybody be worried about him being degraded? If these allegations against him are true, okay, and I believe many of them are, though I think some are lies, but why should we be concerned about Diddy being degraded or feeling degraded or humiliated or any of the things that his victims clearly claimed that they felt? Okay, they concluded saying, because there is absolutely no reason to shackle Mr. Combs during court proceedings, and because such shackling prejudices the potential jury pool, undermines his presumption of innocence, interferes with his ability to communicate with counsel, and offends the dignity and decorum of the proceedings, we respectfully request that the court direct the U.S. Marshal Service to remove his shackles before bringing him into the courtroom. Well, I like your nerve, Diddy. Now, after Combs was previously denied bail on 2 occasions, another hearing on the matter is scheduled for Friday. However, the defense has requested an immediate hearing in order for prosecutors to explain who authorized the search of Diddy's cell. The rapper, producer, and businessman is currently being held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York. Now, Diddy's attorneys have accused prosecutors of viewing Combs' privileged notes to his lawyers concerning defense witnesses and defense strategies. Okay, they say he's facing a maximum of life in prison if convicted. He's also facing multiple lawsuits accusing him of sexual assault. Now, in an October press conference, Texas-based attorney Tony Busby said he was representing 120 victims as they seek legal action against Mr. Combs. Responding to the plethora of lawsuits, Combs' spokespeople have repeatedly pointed Newsweek to the following statement saying, "We live in a world where anyone can file a lawsuit for any reason and without any proof. Fortunately, a fair and impartial judicial process exists to find the truth, and Mr. Combs is confident he will prevail against these and other baseless claims in court." Okay, well, I think Diddy needs to sit down somewhere, but how about y'all? What do you all think about Diddy trying to basically, what do you all think about him? Goodness Rated Bo said Trump should have been right next to Diddy. Well, that is likely the case. I told you all weeks ago, the only reason Trump's going to the White House while Diddy's headed to prison is because of white privilege, okay? Because if you commit 34 whole felonies, yeah, you should be in prison. You should be in prison. Now, with that all being said, this is all nefarious. So what do you all say about it? Because Diddy wants those shackles taken off, so he's not further embarrassed and doesn't feel degraded. Okay, but anyway, honey, I digress. Now let's get into what Ray J said. Lights up, everyone, please like and share because Ray J had something else to say, and we're going to get into it. Now, mind you guys, I told you today, and I still intend to. Don't fear. I still intend to. All right, we're going to do that on another live. So let's go to what Ray J has to say now. Y'all know Ray J keeps rambling these last few days. Lights up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Take on the latest. Joins us now. Thank you very much for coming on short notice. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Chris. Always good to talk to you.
So, Ray J, what is your take on the suggestion that Diddy is powerful enough that he can reach out, even if behind bars, like some kind of mob boss, and get people to tell people to shut up, or I'll pay you if you shut up, and be effective?
Look, I don't know how real that is. I think, you know, when you're in jail, I think you should also know how to move and not do stupid stuff like that. I think a lot of the stories are becoming out of control and super extreme. Again, you know, you start one way and then as it builds, there's thousands of people coming in creating a new narrative. And when you do your research or your due diligence on it, a lot of it doesn't come back real. So now you're stuck in a position to go, is any of it real or how much of it is real?
Now I want you all to pay attention because unlike future broadcasts where Ray J's been on here with Chris, he's actually making sense on this one. Ray J said, now there are certain narratives being painted and pushed, basically I'm paraphrasing, and says, then you start to wonder, is it real? Because see, this is what I told you guys. I said, some of these people are clearly lying. Some of these people are making up bullish, and that is not good for the people who are actually telling the damn truth, for the people who have really been victimized, for the people who have really witnessed things, for the people who are really trying to get justice for not only themselves, but for others, or for the people who are going to testify who may not have necessarily been a victim, but know somebody who was or saw something that was, you know, criminal. At the end of the day, these people out here lying and clout chasing and trying to make bags. It's turned into a whole grift. And later on today, I'm going to show you just how far the grift has in fact gone. I'm going to show you some footage, and I want you all to make your own assessment if you believe what some of these people are saying. And as I've said, I've shown you these same people before and proven that they're liars, but I'm going to show you more footage just so you can see to the extent that they're willing to go to tell these lies so they can get a bag. Okay, and then I'm even going to go so far as to show you how much of a bag they're getting. You know how I know how much of a bag they're getting? Because I reached out to one of them just to see how much of a bag they were getting. And I asked them, first of all, I wanted to interview them Just like I interviewed Courtney Burgess so I could catch them in lies and so I could question them. Okay, because you know how to conduct an interrogation. I'm just saying. Now, I wanted to get them on here and ask them these questions to prove that they were lying, just like I did Courtney Burgess. And so they told me their price. And I told them, beloved, I don't pay for interviews. Okay. Well, where do you see their price and what they had to say? We've got to get into it because I told y'all I was going to bring y'all the receipts. And I also told you this is why I will never pay people for interviews. Because when you pay people for interviews, what happens is they feel compelled or due to greed. Now, not all people who get paid for interviews. Some of them are just telling the truth. But at the end of the day, some people, when you offer them money, they'll start embellishing stories, clearly telling lies, and even making up stories to keep the grift going. Because if I just got paid $1,000 on this platform, then I can go on this platform. And then they realize that if they keep telling the same damn stories, now nobody wants to hear it because we've already heard it before. So now they're forced to start making up other stories, which is exactly what's going on. So when Ray J says that now narratives are being painted and the stories are starting to change, that's absolutely what's happening. That is absolutely what's happening. Okay, so we're going to get into it. Green beans, potatoes, tomatoes said that's a good point. Thank you, beloved. Jay Gray said exactly. Okay, so I told you all this is problematic at the end of the day, but let's continue.
And I think that's where we are now because they just keep piling on and on and on. And now everybody's starting to feel weird about it and starting to feel like it's all starting to look like it's one-sided against one man. And people aren't liking it.
Do you still believe that we're going to see a lot of bold-faced names get pulled into this because of their knowledge or their participation in what Diddy is accused of?
You know, I think that there might have been times where people have partied with a certain team of people and it might have been a freak off at that party, right? But I can guarantee you, most of the celebrities that's went to Diddy's parties never even heard of a freak off. So the freak offs in the beginning sounded really interesting, you know, and entertaining, I would say. But in this space now, when you look back, where were the freak offs? Everybody that's super legitimate, that's an A-list celebrity or whatever they say, you know, from my knowledge and just me knowing, I've never seen a freak off. What does that really mean? I mean, is that really real? Is this 50-50? Are we creating a new narrative for something that's not there? Where was it really dope in the baby oil? I mean, what are we doing?
Right. What do you want people to know about the alleged altercation with you and Diddy's sons?
Now, let me say this. Ray J, please sit down somewhere. Now, I was rolling with you when you said some of the stories are changing, because clearly some of them are, and some of the stuff is not true. Clearly, all of it isn't true. But Ray J, please let's not sit there and pretend that there was no such thing as freak offs. When Cassie was the first one that told us about him, and I believe everything that Cassie said, that's right. Cassie was the first one to come forward, and I believe if anybody has credibility and credence, it's Cassie. I believe everything she said. And then let's not forget that other people that worked for Diddy in the past have also come out and corroborated much of what Cassie has said. So Cassie said there was freak offs, Ray J. So please sit down somewhere, okay, at the end of the day, but let's continue.
And your drive and your belief that somebody took a shot at you, do you believe those are related? And did they change your disposition towards talking about this situation?
Well, when you live in LA, you know, I think a lot of things are controlled in a lot of different ways, whether it's from the underground scene or from the political scene. But what I do know is that the people that did that to me, you know, trying to work out something when you know who it is always the best plan, right? I've seen a lot of violence happen just because certain people wouldn't sit down and figure out, you know, what can happen in a positive way as opposed to it going another route. So in that situation, you know, we're doing everything we can to make sure that, you know, things are super safe and that everybody can just live and enjoy life And whether it's the truth, whether it's a lie, whatever it is, it stays.
Okay, so listen, let me ask you guys something. Now, to be honest with you, I really don't feel like doing another live on this channel today because I have another live to do on the backup channel. With that all being said, do you all want me to call out the lies on this same broadcast, or do you want a separate broadcast? Ones, if you want me to start with the lies on this broadcast. Twos, if you want me to do a whole nother one, because I could do while we're already on here. Ones, if yes. Twos, if no. Let's see what y'all have to say about it while I finish playing Ray J's audio or video.
On the front line, it doesn't go into something super violent. That's very important, moving forward.
Well,
and as far as, as far as go ahead.
No, go ahead. As far as what?
No, and then as far as Diddy's sons, yeah, it's been a lot. And I think at this point, we had to all sit down and we had to really figure out what this looks like and what we should do moving forward. And so we've worked out our differences. And I think that when we talked in the beginning, creating these mentorship programs and creating something new to help young entrepreneurs when they're falling by the wayside is absolutely needed in these situations. I mean, if you even just look at me, sometimes you need certain guidance before you jump off the edge. And a lot of times that's happening in this space that we're in right now.
Hey, thanks for watching. Go to join.
Okay, I have several questions as to whether or not Ray J was in fact at any of those freak-offs, because he's clearly trying to make us think that no such things ever happened, and that if they in fact did, most people didn't know. Ray J, please sit down somewhere is all I'm saying. Okay? Please sit down somewhere is all I'm saying. Okay, so it looks like Shaw Shana said, blink, sir, if you're in danger. Okay, yeah, blink twice, in fact. Okay, this is all crazy. This is all crazy. Now, with that all being said, it looks like the ones have it, but here's the thing. Hold on just a darn second. Let me see something real quick. Okay, so it is almost 600 people in the chat and 344 likes. Well, let's see what we can do about that. Because if y'all want me to do it right now, then y'all gonna have to get those likes up. Okay, the likes need to be matching the number of people in the chat. All right, so let's get into it. Now I'm gonna give y'all a chance to get those likes up while I play give a word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right, so with that all being said, you can purchase 12 Tribes for your hair at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts, and you can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, so with that all being said, let me see what these likes are looking like. Moderators, check on those likes. Okay. So, Evan said, smash the like button, please. Okay, I mean, I really shouldn't have to ask people to hit the like button. If you are here watching, clearly you watching for a reason. Okay, unless some of y'all are just haters. I mean, I do know that every now and again I get some haters in the chat and all that. Okay, them likes still ain't where they need to be. We'll sit here. Thank you, green beans, tomatoes, potatoes. Said I gave a thumbs up. Thank you, beloved. Root Tracker says, come on, y'all. Let's do 500 likes. Exactly. All right. Because the queen has other things to do. Deronda said, exactly, queen. You shouldn't have to ask. I know, honey. Thank you, beloved. That's right. Re-educated soul said, "You watch what you like, so behave accordingly." Okay, that crazy crazy bitch Eric said they are haters who hate Queen. Okay, at the end of the day, let's play our song again, honey. Haters on the corner. All right, the haters on the corner. While we wait for these likes to get up.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Rock and get us swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Amadaya production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Rock and get us swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power.
All right, so we need about 50 or 60 more likes. Let's keep going. We need about 50 or 60 more likes. Okay, I'm going to sit right here and wait. Or we can just close out the broadcast. All right, we can close out the broadcast at the end of the day. Thank you, Fourth Day says, no hate, sis, at work listening. Chat over like button. Okay, left my desk to hit the like button. LOL. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you, honey. Some of these people are clearly hating. Okay. Reggie said, if you don't like what the queen is cooking, why are you here? Thank you. Okay, thank you. Okay, we almost there. Got to get them up to 500. All right. Now we need about 14 more. I'm being petty today because some of y'all being petty, so I'm gonna be petty right along with you. Okay, I'm gonna be petty right along with you. Jay Gray said some of them are just nosy. Exactly. Hmm. I know that's right. Dorana said, don't make the queen make it a members only broadcast. You know, that's a good idea. I just might. I could do that. Okay. Reggie follows my spiritual channel, and Reggie said, monitoring spirits. You already know. And then turned around and called me Petty LaBelle. Okay. So let's keep going. Let me see what y'all got right now. Queen is doing real black media work daily. You better hit the like button. Okay. You got a few more to go. Some of y'all being stubborn. The green beans, tomatoes, potatoes said we all monitoring the queen. Reggie says Patty Pendergrass. Exactly. Okay. And not Patty Crocker. Okay. So anyway, likes up, everybody. Please like and share. James Allen said we still have some salty liberals in here. You already know. Okay, y'all got more likes to get up, honey. I'm gonna sit right here. What I'm gonna do is we just gonna have a whole nother broadcast, and it is gonna be for members only. How about that? It's gonna be for members only. Root Tracker said, that red is gorgeous queen on you. Thank you, beloved. Thank you. Okay, so it looks like we're going to have a members-only broadcast. Y'all going to learn today. How about that? If you're not a member, you won't be seeing who's telling all these darn lies. So, but we're going to get into it. And so thanks for giving me the idea, because that's good. Because the members, I haven't done anything exclusively for you guys in a minute. So it looks like we're going to be having a members-only broadcast. With that all being said, we're about to be up out of here. Okay? Pink Blue said it's on K8 News, investigation about doctor waking around. Oh, honey, we're about to talk about that on the backup channel. Yes, he was walking around naked. Honey, this is all so sick. This is all so nefarious, okay? So anyway, with that all being said, thank you all for tuning in. Okay, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. All right, so for those of you who follow the backup channel, listen, be ready at 12:30. It's 12:05 right now, because at 12:30, we're going live on the backup channel, honey, because this man was really walking around the office doing things to himself with no clothes on, while women were sitting there. Now, how did he think he was going to get away with it? And that's a whole bunch of other nefarious we're going to get into. And for the rest of you who have memberships to the channel, we'll be seeing about these liars, okay? So who just tell lies for no good reason, okay? I got all the receipts, so please pay attention. With that all being said, I love you all to life. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
With that gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. That's See right. A bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got